Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. Check it out. I'm home early at 7:02, and if you saw that, it's 82. It's dropped like 20 degrees because we had a whole bunch of cloud cover come in. And of course, right as I walked out the door, the rain started, so not going to complain. And if you're sitting here and you're thinking like, hey, this is a familiar backdrop, well, that would be correct. And if I set this down, some of you are rejoicing. You're thinking like, those are those junky Icon ratcheting wrenches he bought. I bet they're trash. This is probably to bash them and say how terrible they are, and he wishes he wouldn't have got them. And that's not the case for two reasons. Number one, I've barely gotten to use these. And number two, it's just we haven't had enough time. You know, they very well could be terrible, but, you know, I've only 7/16, half, and 9/16. That's all it's seen action, and it has not been much. I've only had these for like, I don't know, 10 days or something. So work has been crazy. I haven't had much free time out here, but they are here for a reason, because they make a really nice segue into this next item, which is fresh. Those were a Father's Day sale pickup, to give you an idea. This is lucky day too. This is 7/7. Oh, I forgot about that. And you'd think more places would like have sales and promotions for that, you know, but alas, they don't. And what I got is right here on the July 4th sale. So July 4th, you know, people say that all the time. I like to say Independence Day, and that's what I'm going to stick with. So Independence Day sale at Harbor Freight, they had the 20% off anything, minus, of course, you know, expensive items, welders, tool carts, that sort of a thing. But luckily, they don't exempt the Icon line, so that's something that they've got working in their favor, because it's gotten me to buy 2 sets of ratcheting wrenches. So if you're thinking like, okay, well, what's the deal here? We've got Icon Professional Ratcheting Wrench Set, which is up there that you can barely see, WRS-7. We've got 3/8 all the way through 3/4, 7-piece, no skip SAE. What's the catch? What's the deal here? Well, this is the deal. On the table down here, all right, we've got the SK X-Frame. SK still have their gears turning, quite literally. And those have been fantastic. The tooth count is insane. The swing arc is great. They're pretty thick, and they're not reversible. I mean, like, if these are all 9/16, and then this stuff over here is 13 and 14 respectively. So like, these are like twice the thickness of the Gedore over there. I mean, it's insane how beefy the X-Frame is. That's great. Some people prefer it, but it's also a detriment. You'll also note that is a 6-point box end. Coming in down here, we've got the Capri. This is the first, I believe, ratcheting wrenches I ever got. They've been pretty good to me. Nice tooth count. It's actually pretty dadgum smooth, I have to say. If you look at the jaws, though, I think Capri calls it a wave drive. Think of flank drive, think of right grip. That's Capri's version of that. Awesome most of the time, unless you've got like kind of fancy fasteners that you don't want to mar up, you know, be they polished or chrome or super decorative on, you know, like high upscale engine bays you're messing around in. Maybe motorcycle people as well comes to mind. Here we've got, this is not one of the new ones. I'm not going to dig that out of the box, and I guess that new set doesn't have it anyway. But this is the Wiha 9/16. This is the older one. And then coming over here from the metric offerings, we've got the Wera Joker. We've got the Stahlwille, which I bought 14 for a reason. I use it quite a bit because it kind of interchanges with 9/16 the majority of the time. The more I've used this thing, the more I have actually grown to like it. That's something to keep note of. It maintains the aesthetics of the Stahlwille wrench. Holding it, it's like a wet noodle. I mean, it's got the design, the matte chrome, the grip you're used to is just not there at all. It does aesthetically pay tribute, you know, to the Stahlwille open box 13 that you all know and love. It's just, it's Taiwan, right? I mean, they do ratcheting wrenches, they do ratchets, they do ratcheting things well. And then right here we've got the Gedore. This is the only one made in Germany, and this is the bougie one that's got the switch on it. That's my only metrics wrench with a switch, and it's actually seen a lot of use in the trucks, interior stuff, kick panels, things along those lines. Zero complaints. I want to highlight this. It is made in the Czech Republic, as far as I know. They do have switched versions. Keep that in mind as we proceed forward. You're sitting here and you're thinking like, why would you get these? Well, here's why. This Wiha set right here, okay, super comprehensive, like quarter all the way up to 1.5 inches. awesome, stupid good buy. They could be terrible. They could break super fast. They're actually backed with a no hassle guarantee. We may have to test that out at some point, but if you recall what we did, I was kind of disappointed in myself for not buying a second bigger set of those, to like have it work. And it ate me up so bad when these came back on sale, even though it was just the big part of the set, like 13 16ths and up. I pulled the trigger. I thought that's too good of a buy. Do I like the Capri and the SK and pretty much everything on the table's better in terms of the performance so far? Yeah, but again, this is a price point with a warranty, and I have had the metrics for quite a while and the SAE for a little while, and they've seen quite a bit of use, and I haven't really had any issues with them. So enter the ones for work that are, the 13 16ths all the way up to 1.5 inch, and it's a situation where it's like, well, if I'm going to take those to work, what do I do about the bottom half, right? And if you're like, well, just take those ones from your service cart and put them at work. Well, then here at the house, I've got like jumbo wrenches, 1.5 inch down to 13 16ths, but what about 3/4 and under? All right. And so I don't want to come in and buy this again. The Capris, obviously, we've got them. They're right here. SK kind of fills that gap, but there's some subtle differences between these, and we're going to talk about them now. So first and foremost, just like our stubbies that we had in the frame a second ago, these are the switched version. These are reversible. They were $124.99 retail. True story, the chick at the cash register hooked me up, and she gave me the 25% off coupon instead of the 20. I'm one of those plebeians. It's not like on the Insider Track Club, so I should have had 20% off. And whether she was just like burned out or whatever, I got 25% off. So that was a sweet surprise. And essentially snagged these for $90 out the door. Okay, so 7 ratcheting wrenches, 3/8 to 3/4 with no skips. They're reversible. That's a pretty good buy. That's like roughly $13 a wrench. Again, that's something I can live with. I want to mention that because I know some of you are like, man, you're like the German tool guy on YouTube. You're supposed to get all the German stuff. Here's the story. Gedore does not offer SAE. It's simply not an option. It's also, if they did have an option, it would be pretty expensive. It's one of those things I'd probably get like my most frequently used sizes and just slowly expand on it over the course of 3 years. Okay. The Stahlwilles, I think they may have a switched version. I honestly can't remember. But it's a relatively new product. They don't have an SAE offering. If they did, that would have, I'm not going to lie, been a serious contender. Do I like it as well as, like they're made in Germany, wrenches and the matte finish and the grip on them? No, but the ratcheting mechanism seems really good on that. And if you're thinking like, hey, Wera, okay, they've got SAE sizes. I know they do. I've seen them, you're saying to yourself. And you're like, I think they even have switched versions. Should have gone that route. Here's the deal, okay? Like I said, I got these 7 ratcheting wrenches for $90 essentially, okay? If I were to come in and buy the 7 16ths from Wera, it's just a tick over $40 with the switch, okay? And it's a range from like $40, your mid sizes are like $50 to $60, and you get into the bigger sizes and you're kind of hovering around the $70 mark. That suddenly makes this very expensive. Let's just do 70 for these 3. That's $210. Let's be generous and do 40 for these 3. That's going to be $120, $210, and $120. We're at $330, and then we'll mid-tier this one at $50. That's $380, and I paid less than a quarter of that. And I have switched ratcheting wrenches. You also have to understand, I'm not going to use a ratcheting wrench to break fasteners free. I'm not going to put a wrench extender, a breaker bar, a pipe, conduit, anything nearby. It's a convenience thing for me. It's access. Basically, where a ratchet and socket can't go, this is where this shines for me personally. The other thing I've got to highlight, and this is kind of in Harbor Freight's favor, okay? Capri has switched wrenches in SAE, but all I can find is 6 points. I want 12 point. 12 point for me is the preference. I know some people differ. I like 12. I like being able to do, square stock. I also actually, believe it or not, use these on 12 point fasteners from time to time, and 6 point can't touch that. In terms of using this on 6-point fasteners, I still prefer 12 because I give myself way better of a chance of engaging on the fastener. It just makes my life easier. So debate it all you want to, have your own preference. That's my preference, and my preference can't be wrong because it's a personal choice. So I wanted 12 points on the ratcheting end, and I wanted them to be reversible. And you're like, well, okay, if Capri doesn't have that, you know, if it's that big on the 6-point, 12-point thing, go to Tekton. I'm not sure that Tekton has it either, but they've for quite some time been like totally out of stock on their ratcheting wrenches across the board. And if you're like, oh, that's lame, they must import them. Well, they do, but you have to give credit to Tekton as a company. Just like the Capri ratcheting wrenches have been really, really good, and they're in a similar price point. I think a 1/4 to 3/4 set, you might get like an extra 3 wrenches, about $159. So it puts them right here with the icon line, I would say. Maybe you catch a coupon, this is a better deal. Maybe there's a promo at Capri, or you need like the rewards points or double stars to get something else for free. You can kind of spin it in either company's favor. Tekton, you get the rewards as well. What Tekton does that I like is a lot of companies, you see them doing this, you know, last several years, even prior to the thing we can't talk about. It was a deal where people were getting frustrated with like inconsistent suppliers, right, and excuses. And what do you do, like as a business, if you need a component to make a product to sell and stay in business and make payroll? You do it yourself, right? You know, if your sources, you know, are starting to fall through, and it's like, you know what, we should just buy the CNC machine and make it happen. That's kind of a Tekton thing. Will they produce ratcheting wrenches made in America up in Michigan? I don't know. That would be an expensive and costly undertaking, I think. I guess if they get frustrated enough, or if there's like enough demand, or maybe the angled ratcheting wrenches, the stuff made in America or in North America, does well and resonates with people, and people will actually pay the price over what they're accustomed to with this, like, you know, $90 set and $150 for a big set. You know, we'll have to see, but you know, that seems like something they may try. But bottom line, this just falls in a sweet spot for me. Number one, it existed. It was in stock. It was ready to go. Number two, it's on sale. Number three, it was a reasonable price to begin with. Number four, I've had, albeit very little seat time with some of the wrenches in the Stubby set. I did have first-hand experience, and I knew, like, what I've done with these, if they were going to break right off the bat, they would have already done it. At least in those 3 sizes, you could still have lemons. I'm not, you know, letting them off the hook that easy. But it's just a situation where this was available. It was a great price. It had the 12-point box in for me. It was reversible. And the other thing, if you look at this, the Wiha, it's a smooth jaw, right? I don't think they have anything to offer, you know, wave drive, flank drive, right grip, whatever. This is great. It's awesome. It's a good thing most of the time. But again, on sort of like higher end fasteners that aren't damaged, I kind of want smooth jaws because I don't want to tear up fasteners, you know, like on the customer's engine bay. It's like they spend all this money, you know, for these bolts with the Mopar Omega M on them, and then I'm that guy that just tears them up, you know, and I swap the intakes out on a fuel injection swap. No, not going to be me. You can go somewhere else and have that happen. So that's sort of like your mid-tier brands. SK, again, who knows, maybe they get their gears turned and functional again and come out with more sizes in the X-frame or switched X-frames. That's a logical progression. They didn't do it, you know, when they should have, in my opinion. Maybe they will in the future. We'll see what the leadership does. And then over here in like the German side of things, Gedore would be my pick, you know, and it's just they don't offer it. The Stahlwilles, it's not available in SAE, same story as Gedore. And then the Jokers, that's a lot of money, and it's something that to me is kind of a, you know, I'd rather invest big bucks in like a fixed wrench or a specialty wrench. Ratcheting stuff, it's like, yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, and what do moving parts do? They fail, they break, they disappoint. It's just a matter of time. And again, that's where this came through for me personally. So it should be pretty much what you recall from the past video, but we'll take a look at the specs anyway. 72 tooth reversible precision machine for a perfect non-slip fit. I'll be honest, I've used the open end on that like twice. I was trying to focus on the ratcheting end, and again, super limited seat time, but they didn't break right off the bat. Tough and durable polished chrome finish, includes premium storage tray and chrome vanadium steel. So some of the packaging highlights, it's everything we just read right here, but it's the reverse order, so we're not going to care. There is the product in a drawer in the tray. Personally, not a huge fan of those. We've got some solutions on the way. But right here, angled open end allows work in tight spaces. Again, that's huge for me. That's where these are going to come in because they're ratcheting. Balanced handle design provides a comfortable and secure grip. 15-degree offset for knuckle clearance, making it easier to reach around obstructions. Sometimes it does, and sometimes you would prefer like straight, head on. Kind of depends. You know, it's probably going to be what you don't have is what you need. That's just how life works. Again, right here, huge selling point to me, aside from the switch, is the 12-point. I wanted that. I did not want 6-point for these wrenches. It's going to allow easy fastener engagement. This is what I always tell people, and still people disagree, and that's fine, but you know, it's a fact. It doubles your chances. Polished chrome finish offers superior rust and corrosion resistance, and precision machine, giving you a perfect fit on all fasteners. Maximum torque without slippage. Again, this is kind of a cool thing. Just if you know your space constraints, you're super anal about things, this is appreciated. For everyone else, it's just a graphic that takes up space. But 3/8, we're going to come in at about 7.5, and then the big boss in the set, 3/4, you're going to come in at 13 and fittingly 3/4 of an inch. So basically 7.5 to 14. You know, that's going to be your drawer profile you'd want to document. We will quickly open these things up. We've spent more reasons kind of talking and highlighting them, but I think that's important. I think that, you know, people need to understand, like, you know, why would you do this? Why? When there's all these other brands out there, would you go this route? Now, to be totally fair, these do have the warranty on them. You know, I don't quite know how that works. They don't have loose wrenches. If they, I kind of think they should. Like in the store, there should be, you know, if I wanted to come in and try this out and I didn't want to commit $120, $90, whatever it might be, it's a situation where I would totally buy, you know, a 1/2 inch or a 9/16 or something along those lines. And I would do that because I have an immediate need for them. And if I was impressed, or I thought, yeah, that doesn't suck for the price, then I come back and I buy the others, or I slowly fill out the set, right? Like, yeah, it's cool when ratcheting wrench sets come with a 1-inch, but, you know, I can't think of a time that I've used a 1-inch, you know, recently. I guess it'd be like an odds and ends type of a deal, but I would just sort of piece it together like you see me do with some of the German stuff that's a little more expensive. I'd have my 7/16, the 1/2, the 9/16, the whole 9 yards, right? This, I did not know there was actually the clear packaging in there. I mentioned, if you were a fan of this plastic tray, and like in certain environments, you know, machine shop, paint and body, maybe some of you keep the plastic lid on, you know, even though it's in a cart, crud gets in there. Just an extra layer of protection and security. Some of you might think it looks cool. This didn't have it, and I kind of thought that was weird in the store, but the cool thing is I was able to come in and play with the ratcheting mechanism. They only had 2 sets. I picked the one that seemed better. There's a slight difference between them. And so if we come in here, my lord, let me tell you, this is all because of thieves, man. We've got some Phillips screws in here. Just kind of crazy, unexpected. But they're holding that down, so we'll actually have to... Oh, it's a whole rack. Good lord. Okay. This is strange. Looks like we're going to have to bust out a #1 Phillips. Now the question, what screwdriver do we use? That's always something I look forward to throwing out there. But I'm going to go ahead while this is here, before I cut and do that off camera. I'm going to highlight something that I don't really like about this, aside from the color, the profile, the wasted space, the whole 9 yards there. When you have this loose, and like you can see it right now, some of you, like, this looks pretty good, right? You know, they're sort of faced up. You see the sizes, the brand, if you care. But like 7/16, 3/8 and 1/2, just these slots are like way too big and angled down, and they don't want to stay put. super annoying, you know, like I was pulling a battery with the 7/16, and I don't like slam my drawers, and I come back in, you know, and it's like these are flipped over, and I haven't had the set long enough. You know, if the 7/16 wasn't gone, I'm not going to know for sure that's half and 9/16. It's cooler sizes, but when they like face at such weird angles, this is perfect. You know, like the 11/16, I guess it was the 5/8 kind of goes out of position, but see how those like go back or they stay put? These three, the 9/16 is kind of the best in this area, but these bottom three are just all over the place. I feel like that needs to be resized whenever they get that stuff cast, you know. And I'm kind of hoping, obviously with this device we can't tell, but I hope this holds them better until I get what I want to put these in. But I'm going to come in and pick out a number one, which I guess the only one nearby would be Wiha. Maybe we'll just go that route. Wait. Okay, yeah, there's the number one. It's like, why is it not where it's supposed to be? So we'll just go ahead and open this thing up. I don't know, some of you that probably is a moot point and you don't really care. Others of you, it's a situation where you're like, oh, well, that is a good point. And something you have to factor in. I will tell you right now, a huge thing in favor of Capri that you don't have with other companies is foam. If you want these things foamed, you can do that. Obviously Tekton, an advantage if you're a big fan of Ernst wrench racks, you can go that route. Man, these are some seriously long screws, underestimated that. So we'll get this out of here. Now, leaving that in place would actually be smart, not so you can relock it or something stupid, but I think that'll hold the wrenches a little bit better. So it looks like these are sized a little bit better, but you'll note 7/16 is flopping around. 3/8 will do it too. Half, you could make it, but you know, I'll give them credit there. So it's a little annoying there. Obviously, if we were to lift this out, which yeah, I'm not going to leave that in there. We'll just, yeah, you can already see what I'm talking about. It's just when you're buying something that's like, this isn't Pittsburgh, it's not Pittsburgh Pro. This is supposed to be like the bee's knees. You know, I will pay a little extra attention to things and nitpick it. Some people are like, oh, that's stupid. Well, as a guy that stands here in front, behind a camera, I should say, it's like, this is worth noting because it's like, it's annoying and it's not as good as it should be type of a thing. We've totally flipped those. It's just, I think this all needs to be resized just a little bit. They're very close, I'll give them that. But I think it could be better, I think is the way to put it. So once again, like these back three, maybe even four, I'll let slide. The front three are just, they need to be redone in my opinion. So here they are though, and that's what's important, and they'll currently get to stay in this case thing, which I'm not a fan of. I also don't know, like, let me highlight this, okay? This is like a bright red, the Wiha red, right? This is sort of like a blood red. I don't quite know what the logic was when selecting it. If we come in here, another familiar red for you on the twin grips. There's the Wiha red. See how it's just like a, it's not really maroon, but you're getting there. And again, some people, a very small number of people, I would think, this might be like, that's the best color ever. For everyone else, it's kind of like, yeah, why'd they do that? You know, just again, kind of a critique here. Is it nice that it is in a tray that's functional and displays the sizes most of the time, minus the 3 sizes? Yeah, you know, I'll give it that. You got to package them and sell them somehow. But what we want to do now, one of the big things here, you know, obviously on the headers, which by the way, they got picked up Tuesday, July 5th. They're off to be coated, and something I guess I could talk about, but I'm not going to because I never know how or where videos will release. Is that the smoothest mechanism? Nope, it's definitely not. It's 72 tooth. Is it the most confidence inspiring? No, but it's closer to being great than it is to being terrible, and I think that's an important thing to state. You know, you still have this disdain people have for Harbor Freight, like, oh, it's junk. It's like, you know, there's some terrible things you can buy, but there's also some really good things if you kind of know, or if you wait for a sale and a promo and a coupon that still kind of show up with more frequency now, you can get yourself some pretty decent deals, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. So like I said, I wish that the good options of Gedore and Wera were just a little more affordable. Gedore, I wish they had SAE. Stahlwille, Out of everything I've had that's been an imported wrench, and this is just with I'm talking Taiwan, China, you know, not Germany, if you will. Out of everything that's come from there, by far the best ratcheting action has been on the Stahlwille wrench. It's super smooth. It feels more precise and well executed. But I will tell you, the sad thing there, if you're like, man, you should have bought those for your metrics. Well, they weren't out yet, but number two, they're really expensive. Like, for something that came from Taiwan, that's like crazy expensive. And you're almost to the point where you're like, man, I should just, you know, go with Gedore, or, you know, do the Wera route, you know, depending on what you think of the Joker. So it kind of is what it is there. Again, like I said, SK, maybe they'll come out and push the envelope a little bit more. I'd love to see it. The X-frame is fantastic. They could totally make a thin version of that. They could make a switched version of that. They could just add sizes to that. There's lots of things they could do there, but this is just kind of good, you know, based on my initial impressions and what I've experienced in the past. It's not junk, it's not terrible, certainly not up at the top, certainly not at the pinnacle, but it's pretty dadgum good. I'll say I would rate, off of initial feel, again, obviously we haven't used these very long, but I've had the Capris a decent amount of time, and they were my only ratcheting wrenches for a while, so their mechanism's pretty dadgum good. I have to give them credit there. So again, it's just they weren't available, and they don't seem to have 12-point switched. So I think sometimes they do pull things from their site when it's not in. Tekton's just like, whoa, these are totally gone. I think Capri might actually like pull the items. Don't hold me to that. But bottom line, these were available, and I got a great buy, and I feel pretty good with it. I will tell you something that sucks. I was going to come in this video and say, hey, you know, for $125 you get this, and then you spend, I think it's like $225, you get their jumbo set. It's only 6 sizes, okay? And the catch is, I assumed it would have had 15/16. It does not. There's no 15/16. You hear me all the time say, you know, oh, I wish that X-frame was 15/16. Oh, it's a shame this socket set ended at 7/8. Ooh, it's sad this wrench set stopped at 3/4. I use crud tons of 5/8 hardware, and I therefore want 15/16 in my ratcheting wrench set as an option, especially if it's even just the bigger set. And that price point for 6 Icon wrenches, I think it was like 1 1/4 down to 13/16, right? Skipping 15/16 for whatever reason. Maybe it went a little bigger, I don't really remember. But the bottom line, that's like 200 and change, okay? We got that whole Wiha set that's way more expensive and goes bigger for significantly less than that. So it's just something I kind of want to highlight that again. But when I thought, you know, maybe I should just extend this out with the Icons if I like these. Where's the 15/16? You know, I was like, why would I do that now? It's kind of stupid. So anyway, that's about that. These, you know, like I said, they're going to get used quite a bit now since they're my switched versions and they're full length. It's going to be awesome having the stubbies. Given the fact, like, you're like, well, hey, why did you get the stubbies before these, idiot? Well, we have that stuff now. You know, a couple years back, I wouldn't have had any ratcheting wrenches. This would have been the go-to. But the stubbies are just, when you have the X-frame and the Capris there, it's just kind of like, oh, you know, stubby is going to be more useful. And this is just sort of to pair with the Wihas, I think. And that may change, I don't know. Maybe when Stahlwille expands and the prices come down, maybe there's like a tool of the day on some Joker SAE wrenches, and the handful of us that still use SAE would be like, sweet, you know, and go to town, jump on it. Future is unknown, but this was here, it was on sale. I have limited experience, but it's been good so far, and I thought, you know, we're gonna do it. So now I've got the full Wiha set. Maybe I'll take that to work, and then I'll keep these with the big Wiha set here. Not 100% sure, it's all to be determined, but I think these are pretty decent wrenches. And I do want to highlight, I don't know if I ever rambled in my way into it, but I opted same exact price, $125 before a sale. They have their little flank drive version or right grip version. I went with the smooth ones, again, in part because the Capris have the wave drive, and also, again, just what I'll be using these on a lot of times. Yeah, there's some beat up junk no one cares about, but I can also then have these handy, take advantage of the switch, and I will have an open end that's smooth and shouldn't tear up specialty fasteners. So This is the 3/4. It's pretty solid. It seems a little longer too. That's something I might have to compare and contrast. So we're about to time out there. So what I want to know from you is, I'm assuming more of you would have experienced the base set than the stubbies, although the mechanism should theoretically be the same. What do you think of this set, especially at the price point of $125? Keep in mind, we got a pretty sweet deal, walked out the door for around $90. If you've used these, how long have you had them? How have they held up? How do they compare? Some of you are going to have really, really, really fancy, expensive ratcheting wrenches. I don't, especially switched ones. Some of you are going to have years and years of experience with them, and you can say, oh, this came out of the same factory as this brand, and this one's a cheaper price, just buy it. Whatever thoughts and insights you have, by all means, feel free to share them. That's what this video is here, is to help people. Would I buy these for $125? Yeah, but would I prefer to wait for a coupon? Yep. And, if you're not in dire straits, that's what I would recommend. Something about Icon, again, being the premium brand. Like, let's say I'm using the 1/2 inch and I'm loving it, getting great results, and the mechanism just spins out on me, right? I'm not even, breaking things free. I'm just sitting there running it down, and boom, it's gone. And I've still got like 1/2 of an inch to thread in before we're tight. If I take this up there, they're supposed to give me a replacement 1/2 inch wrench, right? I don't know if they break sets down. I don't know if in the back they have like these magical racks that are stocked with common sizes or all the sizes as replacements. But I really do think it would be in their best interest, and I think a lot of people, like, you're not going to spend $90 on Harbor Freight ratcheting wrenches, even if they are switched and a good deal. You're going to be like, man, that's probably junk, right? So would you buy this for $15 to $20? I bet a lot of people would, if it's something that they need or would use or would benefit them. And when you do that, and you're like, man, I kind of thought that thing would be junk, but it's actually really good. I kind of like it. It's not bad for the money, even, some people might say. I think then people would go back and like fill it out, right? They'd kind of get what they need. I'd love to also see 1/4 and 5/16 here. Obviously, I feel about 15/16, but I think they would stand to benefit from offering, even if it's in a glass case or even if it's just a product card and says talk to management. I think you should have like, if I go on the Snap-on truck and I'm like, dude, I need a 9/16 wrench, I get a 9/16 wrench. I don't have to buy a set. I don't have to jump through hoops. The man sells me what I ask for, I think that's really something they should consider, because I think it would overall be a benefit to the line. It would get more positive brand recognition out, and ultimately it would lead to people that go from a 1/2, 9/16, 7/16 and 3/4 just like filling it out. And then, if they're thinking, man, these are pretty good, they're better than my metric wrenches, there's a sale, and they think, I'm going to go buy myself the set of metric, Icons. That's personally the way I would do it. I get people are going to steal sticky fingers, rip it off, keep it in a glass case, keep it in the back, just do something, let people know, like, if you want to come in and buy a 1/2 inch wrench, you can do it. You're going to have to wait around on the manager, but you can, by gosh, do it. I think that would just be a very smart business move, in my opinion. But bottom line, I'm looking forward to using these things. I will definitely let you know if they suck. I'll let you know if they disappoint me. I'll let you know if they just kind of do their job and they're not the greatest thing, but they're not the worst, and we got a good buy. That's probably what will happen. But I can tell you right now, they are special to me because they're the only SAE ratcheting wrenches I own with a switch. That makes them very useful. There's times people do it, not many people will admit it, but you'll be spinning around over here with your super fancy, high tooth count ratcheting wrench running stuff down. You'll get it stuck, something stupid. You'll be in like a tight space and sort of run it in, and next thing you know, you're like, well, I'll just loosen it, and you're like, oh, I can't. There's a reason for the switch, right? And there's a reason it costs more. It adds a little bit, but you get more from it, if you will. So that's about all I've got for you. Again, main thing, many of you, I assume, have had these, have used them, will have more experience, thoughts to share. At this point in time, obviously, I have not released this video. We're like, there's so many Harbor Freight videos I've got. Like, these are going to be like late 20s, maybe even 30 somethings, and I think I'm next one I release is going to be like pry bars at 16, 17, or 18. So it might be a long time. It might be like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Here I am, July 4th type of time frame. But by then I should have some significant seat time with these, and I'll determine if they're junk or if they're actually good. But like I said, your thoughts and opinions always appreciated here. And like I said, it's just, I'd love to see, Gedore offer SAE sizes. I totally would have had 9/16 for a long time. But it's probably a deal where they're like, who's going to buy that? Guy in Texas. Who else? Maybe some of you see it and you're like, man, I want to try that out and see how it compares against my brand X, Y, and Z. And that's about it. Do they ever enter the market and take a significant number of sales or justify the cost that they went through to research, develop it, produce it? I'm assuming they think no, and they're probably correct there. Again, obviously metric, total different story. But SAE, it's kind of like, yeah, really? So if I had a guess, I would think maybe Stahlwille eventually offers it just because of their presence in the aviation field. But I don't know. It's the sad thing there, like Gedore and Wera are expensive, but they're based Germany and Czech Republic respectively. The Stahlwille, even though they have that classic look that you want to see, they are made in Taiwan, but based on the price, you would not know that. Like, you would think that you're buying, if you just looked at the price, you'd be like, oh, well, Stahlwille's got one, I'm going to go with that. And while it is a fantastic ratcheting mechanism, it is in Taiwan, and to me, I shouldn't be paying, $40 a wrench. It should be somewhere like 15 to 24, and try to get a better deal from there, type of thing. So anyway, it is what it is, and I'm going to leave it at that. So I'm going to get inside, try to have supper at a decent time tonight, like before 9:30 would be cool. And this video is a lot longer than I thought it would be, but hey, that's what happens. You're out here having a good time. Got the fan going, the rain falling, cooler day. Good times out here in the shop. So with that said, LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'm going to waste a little bit more of your time with something actually useful, because these are significantly longer. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like, this is the Wiha. It's a good jump. And again, you can kind of see up here, Wiha and Capri, basically the exact same profile. SK is just a snippet longer. And right here, again, the icon, pretty different in length there. It's hard to tell because they're both polished, but man, I'm telling you, that SK is a beefy sucker compared to everything else. So if you're in the market for something and you want like slightly, this would sort of be like Stahlwille's Open Box 14, right? Slightly extended. Another selling point. But like I said, the Capris have been really good to me. I just wanted a reversible and 12-point. Tekton I'm willing to try, but they don't have any. SK, I would love to go that route, but I can't. Wiha doesn't have a selector switch, and I kind of, as weird as it is, I like to kind of intermingle and mix and experiment and try. It's kind of what keeps it interesting, I don't want to just run on the Snap-on truck and buy one of everything they sell. I want to be like, this wrench is pretty nice, but what about the Mac one? And that's how you wind up doing YouTube videos on tools, So, and you still try to make it practical, try to keep it functional for me. And like I said, these should fill a very nice spot, assuming they're decent. And I think they're going to be a nice addition for me. So could we have gotten something more expensive? Yep. Could we have gotten something better? Yeah. But for the price we got and how I know I'm going to use them, I'm not sure that this isn't the best bang for the buck. So we'll try them out. Hopefully those words don't come back to haunt me. If they do, you'll be the first to know. I'm not ashamed or afraid to admit, like, man, I should have spent another, $90 and gotten this. Or, geez, I shouldn't have cheaped out there. But these are advertised as, their premium line, and whether they are or not remains to be seen. But we'll give it a go. We'll give it a fair shake. That's all we can do. So I'm excited to have them. I think they really will be very nice here around the shop. And who knows, maybe they'll someday travel to work. But, until that happens, we'll leave it at that. LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. And I can tell you right now, if any of you have this Knipex pin, that's about the closest color match I can give you. Granted, most of you can run into Harbor Freight, but I know a lot of you are in rural areas or don't have a store closer than like an hour, 2 hours away. So if you're like, God, that thing's hideous, or you're like, is that my favorite shade of red? Well, that's probably the closest thing I have to it. So we'll give you a black backdrop there. And again, it's nice it's included. You know, would I prefer something else? Absolutely, but not going to complain. They have to package it somehow, and it's multifunctional for us. So with that said, I'm going to get these in the car, quit rambling, might crank out another video, might clean some, who knows. But I had a good time. I hope you did too. Hope you learned a little something. And until next Saturday, I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop.